For our next speaker, we have Jenny Bjorkman, who is a UX consultant and co-founder of Interactive Studio. With a wealth of experience in financial services and tech, Jenny is a mentor, facilitator, and advocate for UX design, bringing valuable insight for us today at Agile on the Beach. So please welcome, put your hands together and go crazy, and welcome Jenny to the stage.
Cool. Is this on? Oh, you can hear me. Hi. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Design Health Check. You can use this QR code to leave me feedback, and I've popped it in again at the end, so no need to get it now. Okay, so my name is Jenny Bjorkman, and I am one half of Interactive Studio. My husband Patrick is the other half, and between us we cover the full design lifecycle. Patrick has been a creative director in agency land for decades, so he oversees everything from a kind of brand proposition strategy perspective, and I mostly cover user research and anything else that involves willingly talking to people, like being here today. And then Patrick takes it through wireframes, high-fidelity mock-ups, and onto finished websites. And people often ask me what it's like working with your husband, and my stock answer is it has its moments. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the WWW method. Having worked with many teams over the years, we know it can be really hard to tell if you have a problem with your designs or not. Often you'll know there's something wrong, but you just don't know how to fix it. And the WWW method is a really easy way to test a page. It allows you to very quickly assess any page or screen to see if it's working as hard as it can, and to pinpoint what's not working. This is a learned skill. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with it. Okay. Why can't I scroll up here? Okay. Yeah, I can't scroll my notes for some reason. Oh, thank you. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing we'll look at is messaging. In our experience, this is the main area where teams struggle. They just don't know how to frame and pitch their messaging at the right level. We'll talk about techniques to assess the level that your messaging is currently sitting at, and then what you can do to elevate it. Okay? And finally, we'll look at how to inform your design, including your messaging, with evidence. Getting a good design and user experience is not a happy accident or a one-and-done process. It involves continuously going out and getting good insight to help you find the problem areas you should be focusing on, and we'll look at how you can do that. Okay, so chapter 1, the WWW method to assess any page at a glance, how to objectively know if it's a good page. Okay, so avoid the thrift shop trap, it's a bit of a tongue twister, of talking to everyone, everywhere, all at once. We all know if you try to talk to everyone, you talk to no one. We've all been there, that meeting with sales and marketing and the business and legal, where everyone wants their own little bit of the pie, and the result is inevitably a screen or a website or even an entire product that doesn't actually work for anyone. And remember, anything that doesn't help add to your experience, instead subtracts from it. So what can we do about that? The WWW method asks 3 simple questions which the page needs to answer within the first few seconds. What is this about? Why should I care? What should I do next? So people coming to your site will often have a goal, something that they just need to get done, and they don't have time trying to work out what you do and trying to help figure out how you can help them solve their problems, okay? Your job is to get them to their end goal as quickly as possible. So companies in the early stages get so involved in what they're doing that it's almost impossible to look at anything that they've produced objectively. And the WWW method can help you take that step back. So let's look at some examples from live websites. All the examples I'll go through are from websites. But this method works just as well for any layout, whether it's a website or an app or a dashboard. So number one, okay. This is Mercedes' actual homepage, okay? Or it was when we put this presentation together. So have a bash, pretend you don't know anything about cars, okay? Ask the 3 questions. What is this about? Why should I care? What should I do next? At a quick glance, this could be a company providing car loans, not one of the biggest brands, car brands in the world. Okay, I'll leave it up for a second. Okay, so the main problem here is the headline, 0% APR representative across selected all-electric cars. It sounds like the bit that they say really fast at the end of a radio advert. Apart from being a mouthful, is that really what Mercedes are all about? Is that what they do? Is that a great first impression for anyone looking to learn more about Mercedes? Remember, this is their actual homepage. Heading down the page, it doesn't get much better. The rest of what you see on the screen is just essentially the T's and C's for that offer. So unless you're intimately acquainted with, beforehand with the exact details and the make and models of the cars, then this will mean nothing to you. Continuing on to the call to action, the buttons are clear. You can easily book a test drive or start shopping. But from what you've seen previously, who can say that they would be ready to book a test drive or buy a car? Bear in mind, you don't know what cars are available and why you might be interested in them. It's perhaps not the inspirational and aspirational impression you would expect from a company like Mercedes. So, moving on. Next, WordPress. So this is the WordPress homepage. At first glance, it appears to be very clear, simple and focused. What could possibly be wrong here? Okay, so let's start with the header. What does flex your freedom actually mean? It could mean anything to anyone. You could swap out WordPress with almost anything, and it would still just be just as meaningless. Body form, flex your freedom. If you're ever in a situation when you can swap out your company name for any other company name, then it's not working. The jargon fest continues as we move into why should I care? Create a place for your business, your interests, or anything else with the open source platform that powers the web. This could be talking about anyone who provides hosting. So the call to action is great. Get WordPress, no problem with that. But you've made everyone work unnecessarily hard to get there, okay? So next up, Webflow, which, if you haven't come across it before, is a no-code website builder. So you can build websites without being a front-end developer. So how do you feel this measures up, now that you're getting good at this? Can you answer the 3 W's? What is this about? Why should I care? What should I do next? Okay, I'll leave it up for a second. Okay. It couldn't be much clearer, gets 5 stars, okay? So build with the power of code without writing any. Super clear, sounds great, please tell me more. Take control of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in a visual canvas. Webflow generates clean, semantic code that's ready to publish or hand to developers. In the space of 2 sentences, they've outlined more than one problem that I might have and how Webflow could solve it for me. I'm now in a much better position to decide whether I want to start building than I was when I opened the page, so mission accomplished. There's nothing on the page that's going to distract me, confuse me, or put me off. If you compare this with the other examples we've just looked at, and you're starting to see how just answering these 3 questions helps create a page that's more focused and helps people towards their goal. So let's look at our last example. What is this about? Why should I care? What should I do next? You'll be hearing me in your sleep. Okay, so here we've got bonus points for condensing the what is this about and why should I care into 7 words. Community car share from £5 per hour. I know what it is, and I know how it compares from a price perspective with other travel options that I might have. And the call to action, find a car near me, is extra useful because it allows you to put in your postcode and check availability straight away. We could be here all day looking at examples, but I hope you're starting to see the pattern of how asking those 3 questions, what is this about? Why should I care? What should I do next? Will help you identify what's not working with any screen in your digital product. So we've just looked at home pages, but this is a tool to keep in your back pocket to bring out any time you look at a screen. And remember again, anything you add to a screen that doesn't add to an understanding instead brings you closer to the dreaded thrift shop. Okay, chapter 2. Elevate your messaging. How to know if your content is pitched at the right level. Okay, everyone knows this quote from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is equally true when it comes to your communication, when speaking to people about your digital products and services. You need to make them feel something. We could easily fill 100 presentations about messaging and proposition, as it's such a broad topic. But today we just want to talk about how you can easily assess your current messaging to see which level it's currently pitched at, and we'll come on to that in just a second. We're not trying to learn how to be professional copywriters, but hopefully we'll learn how to identify specific places where you might need their help. So here are the messaging levels, moving up from jargon fest to feature, to benefit, and then need. But what do we mean by these? Okay, so jargon fest is when your messaging is littered with internal speak and acronyms. Think back to the Mercedes example, where it listed the specific model numbers and expected you to know what they were. Or WordPress, who put words in that they thought sounded nice, but actually didn't mean anything and certainly didn't contribute to understanding. There's never a place for jargon fest, okay? So feature is when we're focusing on features, which is functionality and specs. Yawn. The levels we want to be pitching at are benefit and need, because that's what people will relate to, and that's what they're more likely to remember, okay? So need is better than benefit, is better than feature, is still better than jargon fest. So let's look at some practical examples. Let's talk about milk. So in this example, we'll have a look at how you would sell milk based on different messaging levels, ignoring jargon fest, okay? So milk, 2 pints, semi-skimmed, 0% fat. So leading with features means that people have to work to match them to their needs. This is not what you would expect to see as the main sell. This is what you would expect to see on the nutrition label on the back of the carton. So why do so many tech companies lead with this? When you're writing technical specification, it's fine, but don't lead with it, and certainly don't put it on your homepage, okay? So going up to the next level, milk has calcium, which is good for your bones. So talking about benefit means that people can see how it might match their needs. So we're now talking about benefits, which is useful, but might not be particularly inspiring or memorable. So pitching at this level is great for talking about your product features. Rather than just listing features, talk about the benefits instead. And it's super easy to get from feature to benefit. You just add a so that or because, okay? So for example, this laptop has 32 gigs of RAM so that you never have to close a Chrome tab ever again in your life, okay? It's also great for comparing yourself directly with competitors in those nice little tables that you see with all the ticks and the crosses. Now on to boss level. So milk helps you grow up to be the best you. Talking about needs means people feel that we get them, okay? So people's needs throughout history at a basic level have generally stayed the same. It's the ways in which we fulfill those needs that change. So in this example, you tie in directly to those needs. We're talking about what would help people fulfill their goals, okay? Their goal is not to have stronger bone density. Their goal is to become a stronger, better person. So the key to getting to this level is really understanding your customers and what their wants and needs are. Otherwise, you won't get there, okay? And we'll come on to that a bit later. So, examples from the wild. We're now going to look at a handful of examples of these different messaging levels from a few live websites. This is Dell. They sell computers. They have loads of different ones. So how do you decide which one you need? A tough ask with this kind of jargon fest. Latitude laptops and 2-in-1 PCs. Work becomes an experience wherever you are. What does that even mean? On the Dell's, hire a proofreader, most intelligent PCs featuring built-in AI. Make sure you drop a buzzword, like what? So think of poor Tracy trying to decide which laptop her son needs for secondary school next year. Like, where would she even start? Like, we're still at Dell, it's a treasure trove. Digging a bit deeper into the hierarchy this time, and instead of more meat on the bone, we just get more jargon, yay! So power CPU and GPU intensive applications with enterprise-grade components, including up to Intel 55-watt processors, professional NVIDIA graphics, and advanced thermal designs keep your system cool, quiet, and running at peak performance. So what? Fine-tune application connectivity, battery, and audio performance with an exclusive Dell optimizer for precision. Eh? Who in the room can tell me if they have a 55-watt Intel processor and what it does for them? Probably someone. What is an advanced thermal system? What's advanced thermal design and why do I need one? What is Dell Optimizer for precision, and how is it useful? Unless you're a turbo geek, then what we've just read is not going to mean anything to you. So then we have Read Family Brochure, which, what's that? Unfortunately for us, it's not a family-friendly brochure about which laptop would fulfill the needs of your family. It's just a brochure filled with even more jargon about the family of laptops. You would have a better experience if the text wasn't there at all. So continuing on with the Dell bashing. We're going even deeper now and comparing actual computers. So we're just looking at one model here, and we have 12 pages of results and 52 actual computers, and very little to help me find the one which is most suitable for me. Tracy's head has now exploded. Okay, so now let's have a look at the same experience with Apple for a model in a similar price range. Love them or hate them, they know how to talk to people. So here they are, totally focused on solving problems and clearly showing the benefits of this product from the start. So impressively big and possibly thin, the new 15-inch MacBook Air makes room for more of what you love with spacious liquid retina display. And with a 13-inch model, you have more reasons than ever to choose Air, supercharged by the M2 chip and with up to 18 hours of battery life. Both laptops deliver blazing fast performance in an ultra-portable design. So I now know it's got a big screen, the battery will last for ages, and it's super light to carry, tick, tick, tick. So we're starting with solving the problems, and then every feature is spoken about as a clear benefit. It's incomparable with the Dell experience. Okay. So even when you dig deeper, and we're talking about specific features, Apple always have a so that. So you can do the so that or because for every one of these, okay? So better components so that performance is better and you can get more done. 20 hours of battery life so that you can go without charging for nearly an entire day. Retina display at 500 nits so that your skin is clearer. And 2 Thunderbolt ports so that you can connect faster devices. What most people do in this section is just list the technical specifications. Okay, so let's switch it up and look at an example from financial services. We'll look at 2 different approaches for how to talk about joint accounts. First up is Lloyd's. Very cold and transactional, but works fine if you already know what you want and what joint accounts are all about. Joint accounts. Joint bank accounts are an easy way to help 2 people manage money together. Like, geez, not exactly inspiring. It doesn't tell me anything really, and certainly doesn't have me exclaiming, I'm ready to apply. Compare that to Starling. Here they are, really taking the time to talk about their joint account to help you manage your money better and achieve your goals, okay? Pay your shared bills together instead of a complicated combination of responsibilities or one person doing it all. You'll both get visibility over any expenses and your money. Set up a bills manager from your joint account. Money for your bills will automatically be set aside and paid from a separate space. Fab. Apply now. So we now know what good messaging looks like, but as I said before, you can only get there if you understand your customers. So let's talk about how to do that. Chapter 3, getting good evidence to find real problem areas, how to know which part of your journey needs attention. Okay, you are not your user. Get that and put it on a poster and stick it on your wall, okay? People often fall prey to the false consensus effect, projecting their behaviors and reactions onto others, okay? Don't do that. So instead, look at what your customers are actually doing and then talk to them to find out why they're doing it, okay? No matter how small your team is, you need to dedicate some of your energy to this. And actually, the less resource that you have, the more important it is to know where you need to use it, okay? It shouldn't be, I don't have enough resource to do user research. It should be, I don't have enough resource not to do user research, okay? So the what and the why. The only way to get specific is to really understand who your customers are. And there are two ways to do this. You can observe them to see what the issue is, also known as quantitative research. And you can talk to them to find out why the issue is happening, also known as qualitative research. And warning here, you cannot get the why from the what, okay? If you're looking at data and seeing a pattern and making assumptions about why it's happening, that is all you're doing. You're making assumptions. You need to actually talk to your users, okay? Firstly, observe them. Look at analytics to see what the issue is. There are so many different types of research. They're all great. But if you have limited resources, here's what we think is worth concentrating on in order of priority, okay? Least priority at the bottom, highest priority at the top, okay? If you haven't seen some of these before, here's a quick overview. So multivariate testing is where you test a screen design against another slight variation of that screen design to see which one is performing better. Heat maps are where you look at where your users are clicking and scrolling around your pages. And heat maps and multivariate testing are great once you have a huge customer base and you're looking at marginal gains, okay? If you don't have that many users, don't even touch them, right? Surveys is self-explanatory. You ask a number of users some questions about how they feel about your product. Surveys can be a cost-effective way to get insight if you manage to frame the questions correctly, okay? Tread lightly, though. Get someone to help you that knows what they're doing. It's very easy to skew the results with confirmation bias, okay? There's a famous example from Walmart where they issued a survey that asked their customers if they thought Walmart stores were too cluttered, as that's obviously what the person who wrote the survey thought. Now, there's only one answer to that question that you're going to get if you ask it. It's so leading. Everyone's going to say, yes, of course, they're too cluttered. Tidy them immediately. We can't live like this. And that's exactly what happened. So Walmart spent millions decluttering their stores, but didn't exactly work out as planned. They lost 1.85 billion, okay? And the executive obviously lost their job. So what actually happened was that by tidying their stores, they removed people's urge to impulse buy. So we've all been there, you walk around IKEA, you come out with the bag clips and the tea lights. Like, how did that happen? And that's what Walmart did. So the moral of the tale is be careful, stress test your survey for bias and leading questions before you send it out, okay? A great way to avoid this issue is to simply ask people about the last time that they did X, Y, or Z, okay? And how they felt about it. And just that. What did you do? How did you feel about it? And no positive, negatives, don't add any arms and legs. What did you do? How did you feel about it? So funnels. To really understand where people are having an issue in your sales process, you need to set up funnels. Which parts are taking a disproportionate amount of time, and where are people dropping off, okay? But that will just be the what, not the why. And lastly, analytics, okay? So where are users coming from and what are they doing on your site? If you do nothing else, just set up solid analytics and you can see how people are using your product. And if you do that, it'll be a great start. Okay, so now you know where the problem area is. Nothing beats talking to people to find out why the problem is happening. So the first place, why is my calendar popping up? The first place to look is at everything your customers are voluntarily coming to you with, okay? Feedback and support tickets are a gold mine. So not only have they contacted you voluntarily, it's in their own words, okay? You'd be surprised how many people that we've spoken to that haven't just cross-referenced their analytics with their feedback and support tickets. So once you've done that, interviews are a cost-effective way of getting more insight. Interviews are not a one and done though. The best companies talk to their customers regularly. And you only need a handful each month. It's not, it's not a daily occurrence. Talking to customers regularly not only helps you work out which products and features that are important to them, but also helps you elevate your messaging. And remember to use their words, okay? So surveys, if you have less customers, then surveys fall into qualitative rather than quantitative. But again, proceed with caution. They can be useful, but it's just as easy to get misleading information out of them. And lastly, usability testing. So if you know what you're doing and you can set up a usability test, nothing beats watching customers trying to use your product, okay? If you've gone through all the previous levels and you're feeling brave, then read Rocket Surgery Made Easy by Steve Krug and have a bash. Usability test recordings are an amazing way to persuade senior management that you have a problem. Okay. So let's have a look at some success stories. Okay, we all know Lego. They have an amazing approach to gathering customer insight. They mostly just observe their kids playing with Lego and then talk to them how they feel about it. This is Lego 3-in-1, but it didn't start out life as a 3-in-1. It started out as simply building a single pet. And through observing kids playing with the product and talking to them about how they felt, Lego discovered that kids were building the animal and then getting attached to it. They were even giving them names and a bed to sleep in. And they definitely did not want to take them apart and rebuild them. Some had even gone as far as gluing them together. And this is obviously against the whole ethos of Lego. So they reimagined the product as a 3-in-1 set that would actively encourage kids to take it apart and build it again. And none of that would have been possible if they hadn't spoken to their customers. Okay, showing my age now. Who here remembers smash hits? A few hands, okay. So for those of you who don't, before mobile phones and social media, smash hits was one of the ways you could prove you were cool to your peers. Using your pocket money to buy a copy and then reading it cover to cover guaranteed you an elevated social status in the playground, okay? However, smash hits started recording lower and lower sales over a number of years, and when they surveyed their readers, they asked, do you like smash hits? To which they all said resounding yes. And they said, is there anything that we could do to improve it? To which they answered, no, it's great, but the sales kept falling. It wasn't until they actually spoke to teens that they discovered what the problem was. Their competitors were not another magazine. They were mobile phones. So at that time, mobile phones were just taking off, and social status was now determined by not only owning a phone, but by using your hard-earned pocket money to buy credit to send texts. And unfortunately, there was no money left for poor old smash hits. So again, without conducting depth interviews with our customers, smash hits would never have discovered this. And it might not have saved the product in the long term, but it would have allowed them to make better business decisions. Okay, so we've talked about the WWW method and how to assess any page at a glance. We've looked at how to identify problems with your messaging and then elevate it. And finally, we've seen how getting good evidence can help you find real problem areas. So hopefully you'll all feel a bit more confident when tackling some of your screens now. So thank you for listening. Here's the feedback code again, so you can follow that link and leave your comments. And I think, I'm not sure, we might have a few minutes for questions, or you can hunt me down on LinkedIn.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you're really good on the timing. So yeah, we've got plenty of time for questions. So any questions for Jenny whilst we're here? Right, got a couple already.
I think it was amazing, firstly. Just wanted to talk about the surveys. You talked about how we should not lead the customers, and we could ask about how their last visit went. Mm-hmm. I feel like that could also fire back. Like they could just talk about, oh, this one employee was actually rubbish, and I don't want to see them again. But what value is that going to provide to the company? So imagine all 50 people said, that one guy was annoying, or they said, actually, your food is rubbish, the other store has it better, or something like that. Like all these individual experiences, when put together, what kind of value will that provide to the company?
What kind of what, sorry?
What kind of value will it provide
value,
to the company?
All of that's valuable. If there's like somebody complaining about one person, it might not be the person's fault, it might be an issue with the process. So all information that you get from customers, especially if you have 50 customers telling you the same thing, you've definitely got an issue. You've definitely got an issue. So that's like a gold mine.
Okay, so
yeah.
I would say it will be maybe closer to just individual cases. Like, how can you make that one person saying, yeah, that employee was not that good, into a general experience for everyone? Like, not sure
if you've got one person complaining about one employee, that's just an outlier. That's just that's just somebody had a bad day, picked up the phone and started shouting at someone on the phone, and that's just an outlier. So just,
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So going back to your Mercedes-Benz example, I really like that one. So if by doing that, you put that on the front page and you increase sales by 10%, 15%, you could prove that via KPI or something, that's a really bad UX way of doing it. But as far as a business is concerned, that's successful because we've increased our sales by X percent. So how do you define good, design in terms of KPIs, in terms of business value? How do you establish, that would be like really good for my business if I was to do that, even though it's not following the best practices in terms of UX?
Well, metrics, like you just said. So, you could do A/B testing on stuff. So you could have tested that with 50 and 50 and see which copy of the page performed better. That would be a way to do it.
Thank you.
Metrics, basically. So yeah, if that page performed better than another page, then yeah, crack on. I doubt it though.
Cool. Any other questions from our audience?
Thanks for the talk. My question would be regarding this example with the milk. With the how would you sell milk, basically? I thought that the last example where the slogan was like, milk helps you to be your best self or whatever. I feel like for me it's like too markety. It doesn't tell me anything. Like personally, it doesn't tell me the facts. Like, okay, it's good for your bones or whatever. But it feels like someone wants to sell me something I don't need. And do you have maybe any recommendations how to avoid things like that, where it feels like too pushy into, buy it at any cost?
Talk to your customers. go to example C. Talk to your customers. Use their language. That was just an example that we made up, but you wouldn't be making things up. You would be talking to the customers and finding out what are their needs, and then you're tapping directly into them and you're using their language, and it will speak to them if you do that.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay, great. We have time for one more question. Right at the back.
Thank you. Just a very quick question, following on from the keynote this morning. I'd just be interested to get your views on what the opportunities are about using AI within the UX space.
Yeah, avoid it for any kind of research because it's just nonsense that you get out of it, basically. You can use it to organize ideas. It's pretty good for that. You have to be really, really careful with data. So you can only plug into anything that's already in the public domain. So any kind of research that you're doing with people where you're getting their views and opinions, you can't be plugging that into ChatGPT because you just can't for data protection issues. So anything that's already in the public space is fine, and anything where you're happy, there's no data issues. It's really great for organizing your research. It's great at pulling out themes, but you have to get really, really good at writing prompts. And nothing really beats people getting around a board and doing an affinity diagram. Like ChatGPT can summarize, but you will notice holes in it if you've been doing it for a long time. So if you're an experienced UXer, then great, you can use it for research, but I would avoid it if you're not.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for. So another round of applause for Jenny.